more, just a little more, just a little more.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Just a Little More. So, we're so excited. This is our hot topic show. Let me turn her down. She loud.
Very loud. Thank
Oh,
you.
don't disrespect our theme music. Come on. But we're so excited about our hot topic show. It's going to be a blast. We have some amazing people here today that you're going to get to meet. We have some amazing topics that we're going to talk about, and we switched it up to call it Black Topic because we black. And
Blackity black, black,
and
black.
our point of view. So I definitely want us to just kind of dive in. It's going to be honest conversation. I definitely want to make sure that you have your friend near you, you have your cocktail near you, you have some good people and energy around you, and just have some good time. All right, let's get into this. You already know at Just a Little More, we're dedicated to getting just a little bit more information, a little bit more tea, and a whole lot of love. All righty, so I have to introduce these special people. Well, they'll introduce themselves, but they're so special in my life. One is from my DC days when I was out in them streets before I got saved, and then my other one is from Atlanta, who nurtured me to be an amazing person and leader and thrive. So y'all go ahead and introduce yourselves, let the people meet you, and tell them about your favorite quarantine snack.
Chantel, you go first.
Come on, Chantel. I'm just Chantal.
Chantal, thank you.
Thank you. I'm Chantal. I'm here in Atlanta. I'm really excited to be here. Let's see. I work for an organization called SMASH. It's a nonprofit that follows young people in high school from ninth grade all the way until they get into college, and even afterwards with internships and stuff like that, kind of getting them prepared for STEM fields and things like that, and giving them all the tools they need to thrive in spaces that normally don't have people that look like them.
Nice.
Yes. Oh, yes. It's
Necessary work.
my boss calls it heart work, not hard work. So.
Oh,
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And so my favorite quarantine snack has been Cheez-Its. Oh my gosh. All of Cheez-Its has so many flavors now. So
Yeah, that sounds like the original. Oh, okay, because that's I'm an original kind
That's because you old.
of.
yeah.
Don't do too many new changes. Come on, Reese, introduce yourself to the people.
Okay.
Guys.
Geraldine. I'm Maurice. I'm up in Baltimore. And much like Chantel, I actually work in a nonprofit here as well. I work for a Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service. I'm a business analyst and technical writer with them. I work on the software development team, and we're processing 2/3 of the nation's refugee cases. So it's fulfilling work. I used to work in immigration law years ago, so it's nice to be back in that field again. And it's good to be here chatting with you all today.
Who you here? Yeah.
We got some bosses on this platform.
I just work at the Dollar Tree.
No,
Listen, now if you do work at the Dollar Tree, there's nothing wrong with working at the Dollar Tree.
nothing.
Nothing
at
wrong with
all.
the Dollar Tree. But no, that is amazing, Reese. I didn't know you was doing that. Come on now.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, before we get into this, please vote. Black people, vote.
Please go vote.
And vote.
Absolutely.
Vote and vote. And make sure that you're still bringing awareness to Breonna Taylor. We have still not found her killers. Please bring attention to it. Please tell everybody you know. Please spread the word. Don't let them silence you. Make a post about it. Keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it over and over. All right. So I'm throwing it to Sis, and she starts us in our Black topics. Let's go.
What's up, y'all? So listen, this is a new segment that we have on the show. It's called Black Topics, where we discuss all things bliggity black, because we black. And this is where we give our unfiltered opinion about all the things that are impacting Black culture at the moment. So all y'all that are watching, please comment down below, because I know we're going to say something y'all don't agree with, and that's okay, but it's our opinion. So we're going to get started first. Wait, everybody, lift up your glasses.
Oh, cheers.
Toast.
Cheers.
Now listen, news broke about a week ago that Niecy Nash done married a whole woman. Like a full on, in the middle of a pandemic, married a woman. Now, I don't know how y'all feel about this, but I felt a little So I watched this show on the OWN network called Black Love. And so her and her husband, who she recently divorced like less than a year ago, were on the show talking about their relationship. And then he pops up married to a whole woman. I have a lot of thoughts, but what do y'all think?
Well, see, for me at surface level, I'm just like, what's not to love about it? I don't know. I just saw these two Black folks walking down the aisle, holding each other's hands. I said, look, normalize these kind of headlines for the rest of 2020 because, and I don't think, and I guess maybe for me, I don't know a ton about Niecy Nash to begin with. I've always seen her in passing, and I know that she's had a couple of husbands in the past. One, like you said, was recent, right?
A couple, yes, like a couple.
Like 3 days ago. No,
like she got married to him just a couple of years ago, right?
Yes.
Right, because like her current wife was at the wedding, playing music. They're singing duets. So, but hey, I'm just looking at it at surface level. Look,
I love that you said that though, like a good positive headline for 2020. Like, I guess that is like a more positive way to look at it, but I'm still side-eyeing.
I'm side-eyeing.
Great, you can have a positive headline, everything, but Niecy, come on now, girl, really?
Come on.
Because, she was married to her husband, this man, for like 8 years, I think. And she was going on about how you keep them and how you do this and you do that. And then she divorced him. They just finalized divorce like a few months ago. And now, like, nobody cares that your sexual orientation, nothing. Nobody, no, we don't care. Niecy, you just got divorced, girl. What?
Like yesterday.
She's 50 years old, though. She can't be wasting time thinking about where her next move is.
I get it, but I think she felt like, oh, look, everybody, I'm out. And we're like, we don't care.
There was a headline that just came out this morning saying that she really didn't consider it coming out. She said that she's just loves who she loves and has just kind of moved with that.
Niecy? Niecy Nash?
Niecy? Yeah. Stop it.
I'm really intrigued by your opinion though, Chantal, because it's been like a lot of stuff like in the media that says like when women can't find good men, right? Is this optional? Is sexuality optional, right? Do they just go to women because that's something familiar to them? What is your take on when people say that? Like when they can't find a good man, women will go to a woman. I just want to hear.
That's BS. You are what you are.
Thank you.
You don't switch and then become you are what you are from day one. I feel like Niecy is physically attracted to men, but emotionally attracted to women. And I think she's looking for an emotional connection and she found it.
Yeah. I would agree. I think that's why that connection has, because her and her current wife have been friends for years.
Mm-hmm.
She had already been in a relationship with her. She just didn't want to accept it within herself. But she had already been in a relationship with her. Girl, you had already came out. But I just think that, I do think that I don't think it's going to be long lasting.
Since you can't be so pessimistic about the love.
I was going to say.
No, I don't. I'm like, girl, stop. You've been married 20 times. Stop it. Stop it.
Like, Niecy, come on now.
She did coin that term, a blowjob away keeps the divorce lawyer away. So clearly she wasn't giving no blowjobs.
Stop.
Okay.
Doesn't have to.
Speaking of love, there was like this sort of like reunion and love fest with Monica versus Brandy on the whole Versus platform.
Yeah.
And we know they've had years of feuding and beefing, and they came together, broke records. Like I think overall, like streaming and everything combined, like over 20 million views.
Yeah.
So did y'all have like a side in the whole Brandy Monica thing? That's kind of our generation of things. What did y'all think about the whole thing?
Brandy, thank you, Brandy.
Brandy.
Okay, here's what I have to say. As far as personally, I'm more fond of Brandy's body of work than Monica's. Mm-hmm. But when you're talking about just at surface level, at face value, what happened during that Versus, I think music fans won that night. Like you said, that history of beef and those feuds that they've had over the years. I can't believe it had been 8 years since they'd been in the same room together.
Yeah.
But you know, just to see them sitting there and really just showing love and to each other's careers and the work that they've put out, that's what meant the most to me. These verses have been interesting. You know, when it comes to the guys doing them, I don't mind. I'm very quick to pick a winner. You know, I'm very quick with those. But with the women, I just, you know, I don't like to pit women against one another in general. I think that society as a whole has liked to do that as much as possible. That doesn't mean we can't pick our favorites as far as music and things like that goes. But I think that, you know, fans, we like to eat that stuff up. You know, you had Kim and Foxy, you know, you had Brandy and Monica, you know, you've had a couple of these other female rappers that have gone against Nicki and Cardi, you know. So I'm just like, I try to, you know, not dive too much in when it comes to picking sides when it comes to that type of stuff. And versus, I think, you know, at the heart of them, that's not what they're about anyway. I think it really is just a time for us to sit down, you know, and enjoy some good music and, you know, have them, you know, comment about what they've done up to this point. And so that's what I took away from it at the end of the day.
You're right.
I totally agree.
That was-
Chantal, here's the thing. Black Twitter won't let nobody rest. It always has to be a winner at something.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm Brandy. Because at the end of the day, Brandy's catalog has much better. And I mean, Monica, she's really great. And
Love her.
talk about this. Brandy and Monica threw the most shade. Like, they were not, like, they do not like each other.
No,
It was
you
just
could
like,
tell.
oh, great, thank
They
you,
kept-
thank
They
you.
kept it cute.
They kept it very cute because they were trying to, like, let's get this coin and let's go home. You know I don't
Right.
like you, girl. But I think that for me, was like Brandy. I mean, listen to those songs that made me relive, like, my childhood,
Mhm.
That's the
being
same
young, and, like, sitting there. I was like, oh, my God, I knew all of those songs. And then you also realize, like, Brandy came up with a lot of bangers. Now, even though she was, you know, mumbling and humming a lot in those years, but
Don't you do
just
that.
joking. I'm just joking. She came, you know, her voice is, you know, changed. I'm joking.
I will say that I think Brandy's voice has gotten a lot clearer over the years.
Yeah.
I will
Yes.
definitely say that.
Just
Before I used to be like,
you know.
Y'all, she had a lot going on. She had TV shows. It's a lot, you know.
Yeah.
It's a
You
lot.
trying to say Monica didn't have nothing going on? Chantal, you trying to say Monica didn't have nothing?
She was Moesha.
She went. Brandy was the part about growing up. We sat in our room because of Brandy. I was like, I'm sitting up in my room because
I was happy to see a girl with braids writing in her diary. That was me. That was me.
Mhm.
Brandy was me. I loved it. I mean, they're both phenomenal in their own right. But when Never Say Never came on,
That's the one. That's the one.
it was
Have you
like,
ever, you know, like all those.
Since you live in Atlanta, don't y'all live in Atlanta with Monica? What if y'all run into her? What y'all gonna do?
She gonna flash that gun.
You know, she is. Monica probably will. She may-
Monica Hood.
I'll be like, hey, can I get an autograph?
So for y'all in those versus battles, I know we talk about like music and catalog, but there are like a lot of new exciting ones coming up. I do like that they're really celebrating like Black culture.
yeah.
I think musically we sort of go under the radar as far as like numbers, right? But to see us all sort of really sort of coming around, especially in this time, it's kind of cool to see us all really celebrating one another in that way, I think.
And
Absolutely.
have fun. Like, I think 2020 has been such a year. So to like Reese said, when you can just sit down as a music fan and be like, oh my God, I can just take a break from COVID and Black Lives Matter to just see these amazing Black women really talk about the catalog of music and growing up in it. It was just the best. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just really great to pick your, even if you just say I pick one or the other, it's just still fun to relive that fantasy of just how life used to be before COVID. Just a simpler time. It was really fun.
So, dun dun dun. There was a special guest that showed up at the Versus.
Oh yes.
Miss Kamala Harris showed up. Our VP showed up at the
Our future VP.
Versus battle. And so it's interesting. There were a lot of comments. So first of all, let's acknowledge, right? First woman of color, like on that kind of major ticket, the Biden-Harris ticket. I mean, huge thing happening in 2020 this year. She did make a cameo. And there's just been a lot of conversation about, well, let's first of all, how do you feel about Kamala Harris being the VP pick? Talk to me.
So I will say, I was shocked, but in a good way. You know,
Yeah.
I knew that Kamala Harris would play some kind of a role in a Biden administration. I knew that. You know, they've been friends in Senate. You know, well, not in Senate, but you know, they've been friends. They've had history, and there's an admiration there for that goes both ways. I just thought that Kamala was going to end up getting Attorney General. That's what I had concluded.
Yeah.
But you know, when they explained it since then that you know she had a real relationship with Joe's late son, Bo. They were
Yes.
both district attorneys together or
Hmm.
state attorneys, and I was like, okay, so it makes sense that there was always that personal connection. And then going back and reading, Biden said that she was his number one pick. So I'm ecstatic about it, and you know, we'll probably dive into some of the other issues later, but for right now, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
Sean,
was too.
John, what'd you say?
No, I
Oh,
was too. I was really
just-
excited
yes.
about it. Even though I wanted Stacey Abrams. I really
Yeah.
wanted Stacey, but I'm hoping that Stacey can win governor of Georgia. So
Yeah, she needs to run again.
I agree with all of that. I mean, it's an exciting time. Like, I mean, any woman he would have picked, especially a woman of color, would have been just amazing.
Incredible.
But I think because he picked Kamala, it's going to be something because she's going to tear Pence up.
Oh my gosh, she's gonna eat him alive. Just if the way she was at those hearings for Kavanaugh is any indicator,
Oh.
we're in for a treat.
that's
And
gonna be good.
you know, and I'll just say this: like you said, first Indian, first Black woman on a major party ticket.
Mhm.
And the fact in her acceptance speech, the first one to mention both chitties and the Divine Nine in a speech, in a vice presidential speech, I'm like, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
It's a huge move, and I think what one thing that I've noted, like with social media, I guess it makes everything so prevalent. You know, I saw a lot of people on the internet saying that she, by being on the Monica thing, that and Brandy, that she was pandering toward, you know, the Black community and the Black vote. And I just wonder, you know, my thought always is we use the same language with Hillary. We use the same sort of language, like she was pandering to us with the hot sauce in her bag. But I mean, can we pander to each other? Is Kamala not Black enough? Like, what does that even mean?
I feel like people hear these like trendy catchphrases and want to throw them out there to be, you know, controversial or think they're on some other level of consciousness or cognizance about the situation. No, I saw her pop up on that screen and I shot out of my chair, you know, because what that is that's just us coming together. Like you said, can't we pander to each other? I mean, what are these folks watching going to be voting for, what's his face? You know, next month. So it's like, no, listen, Joe, Kamala, show up to everything. Show up to the
Yes.
cookout, knock on my front door. I'll have a plate
Yes.
waiting for you. Show up wherever you
Yes.
want to. I don't care. You're
Amen
getting my
to
vote. And if you
Amen.
want to, you know, have some extra presents while you're doing it, I'm all for it.
And Black women have been leading the Democratic Party. Black
They've been
women are
carrying it.
like the top voters. So of course she needed to make a presence in a Black woman. I mean, the ratings were through the roof, but it was just important to have her presence on that versus. And I just think that why not cater to Black
Right.
people?
Mhm.
Why not? We, you know what? I mean, this is the time where we want to be seen, where we need to be heard. And I think that this is a time where she really used her platform to connect with this community and with that age demographic too, because we're going to be the ones voting. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I definitely think it was a great opportunity for her to step in there and do that.
Oh, yeah.
Very true.
Now,
John Tall.
her past is real though. Her past is real.
Exactly. We'll
But
talk
I
about
don't like how many Black men really dogged her. And that's one of the things that really made me was very problematic. Like right when she came in, they was like, man, what, dang, like she was picked, dang. She locked up a lot of Black men. Yes, a lot of the things she did in her position got a lot of Black men locked up, a lot of people of color locked up. But at the end of the day, her visibility and her being seen to young Black girls, as I work with babies, to see that I could one day be where Kamala is, like, that is bigger than anything that she's done in the past. And
it's true.
you know what I'm saying? Joe has done the same thing, but you accepted
Right.
Joe?
Well, and here's the thing, right?
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
just feel like, you know, you've got these two choices, right? You've got Trump and Pence, and then you've got Biden and Harris. And like I said, they've both done things in the past that maybe we don't fully agree with. And, you know, I don't think, here's the interesting thing. I think that the climate that we're in now makes, you know, say Kamala was selected to be Obama's running mate back in like 2008. I don't think that a lot of her record would get as much scrutiny as it is now, as it's getting now. And don't get me wrong, rightfully so. I mean, this is a different time, and you know, she does need to answer to, you know, how she cozied up to the prison system. I mean, like, you know, that was her job. But the thing about it is, and this is what differentiates Biden and Harris from Trump and Pence, is that they know that you've got two candidates on the left that know how to read a room. And by that, I mean, they know what the situation is right now. And I think that those two can be held accountable. And they've already showed that up to this point, can be held accountable for questionable things in their past. You've got that other side, and they're just living in delusion in this, you know, white supremacist laced alternate.
No COVID, no pandemic.
Exactly. So the choice is crystal clear here. I think you've got people who are willing to have an intelligent conversation about how we move the nation's agenda forward. And you've got some people who are just not interested in any of that.
I got to say something. And I think that you brought up like a really valid point. You know, this is not a lesser of two evils, I feel like, situation. And I feel like this is sort of the dialogue that's going on, which scares me as a voter. Like, it scares me because it's not like we're picking the lesser of two evils. And this idea that this Black agenda keeps coming out. Does anyone have a Black agenda? Biden and Harris haven't said what their Black agenda is. And I've just heard a lot of people say, like, even though we haven't ever heard a clear Biden, Harris, Black agenda, we know what Trump's Black agenda is. And that is racist rhetoric and things like that. And so I would rather go with this, which we know they're open to dialogue. They know how to read a room, friend, as you said, but I don't see it as a lesser of two evils. And so
I don't either.
So what do y'all think about this whole, well, anybody, like, what do you think about when people say that? It's the same thing as when it was Hillary or Trump. What do you feel about that?
It's always going to be that way because we have a two-party system. It's always going to be, oh, well, one is, you know, less evil than the other. It's always going to be that way, no matter who is on the ticket. People hate Obama. Black people don't like Obama. There's people, women don't like Obama. So it's not like this is just an anomaly. This came out of nowhere. This happens all the time.
Every year.
And so the thing is vote. I mean,
vote.
Listen,
vote and then continue the discussion. I think that's my big issue, and I think that we've seen it. We started to see a lot of it in 2016 when Bernie didn't, you know, triumph. Then we're seeing it again this year where he didn't triumph once again. And people are always trying to criticize, you know, how moderate, you know, Biden and Harris are. And the last time I checked, progress didn't begin or end with any presidential candidate, you know. So my thing is this, you know, and I hate, sometimes, you know, you listen to people talk and I'm like, well, damn, y'all are being harder on the Democratic candidates than you are on these awful, awful people that are in office right now. And so I'm just like, you know, can we just like scale it back a little bit? And I think that, you know, we've got a lot of people who are on that farther left side of the political spectrum, which is fine. And don't get me wrong, I actually agree with a lot of what they have to say, but it seems like they always want to cast out people who are a little bit more pragmatic. Honestly, I feel like a lot of the moderates are the ones that have done the work to get us to the point where we can have people on the farther left who are, you know, more ambitious about, you know, what we want as far as policy in this country. But don't cast off the people that have been doing the work or the people in the so-called middle who are more inclined to agree with you than not. You know, I think that that's it. You know, that's why, you know, I go back to like the general primaries, the primaries and everything. And I really liked, you know, I think Bernie and Warren both had similar things to say. I just like Warren because I thought that she had more policy chops behind, you know, bringing some of those things to fruition. So it's like we can be progressive. We can be
like P.
I gotta, you know, I agree, and I gotta ask Chantal because I think that this is important. Is this ticket enough to rally Black women? Like, is it enough? Do you think that this is, because the Black vote is what people are talking about. Like, this is major topic of discussion, is the Black vote. Is this ticket enough? Do you think they're speaking to us enough? Like, the whole convention, everything, do you think it's enough to get the Black women, Black people out to vote?
It's going to be enough because Black women are not going to vote for Trump. They're
Right.
just not. They're just not going to do it. He doesn't speak to us for us, so we're not going to vote that way. We may have gripes with the Biden-Harris ticket. Who doesn't? I mean, it is what it is, but we're not going to vote for Trump. That's
Right.
that's point blank period. We're just not going to.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
It's
We
been black
cannot-
women the whole time.
We cannot vote for Trump. Like
No.
everybody who's watching, no
No.
Trump.
No.
And I think, one of the things that I've had to come to grips with this, not voting is a thing. Like we saw it in the last election. Like some of us in our generation, like we did not vote in that last election. And I think that we have to really be clear about when we don't vote, what we're doing.
Exactly.
And then also voter suppression is very real. And a lot of times when Trump did win, because he didn't win by the popular vote, people
Period.
feel like their vote doesn't count. You know what I'm saying? And so we really want to encourage people that your vote does count. That, if you can go and wait in the lines, do your mail-in ballot.
That's the point.
Yeah, do whatever you can to make sure that your voice is heard. But recognize that voter suppression is very real. Like it is very real. I was out there when I was voting in the primary and standing in line. It was almost like 98 degrees outside. And we waited in line for about an hour.
Yeah.
So it's very real. And I was there early. So I only imagine the later in that. And then it started raining. And so they didn't allow people in. So you had to wait in the rain, or you went into your car and waited. And if you didn't know your spot, you missed your spot. So it is a real thing, having 1 to 2, like one voting machine for, for all these people, closing sites before they're supposed to be closing. So that is a real thing. That's why please just know that, that your vote does count. And it is very much in this
And the
election.
thing I'll add to that is just arm yourself with your options early. So anybody listening, I would say right now, know how to apply for that absentee ballot for your state. Get your name in for that, get that ballot. And then that way you'll have your 3 options really. You can vote, by mail, early voting, consider that. Go at an off hour where there's not crowds, or just make sure you get there at a good time that's comfortable for you to vote on election day. But I'd say this, we can't sit down and we can't be defeated by the efforts across the country to suppress our vote.
Yeah, it's time. We need a change. It's got to come now.
Yeah.
We have seen how COVID has disproportionately impacted Black and brown people in these communities. And one of the fears that I have is that it's going to happen in voting as well. We're the ones in those lower end communities, right? And so I'm so glad that Maurice brought up the fact that we need to weigh in our options early for our elderly, for our people that are more susceptible to this kind of stuff. It almost becomes very communal and community driven, right? That we have to check on and see, are these people going to vote? Because I think COVID, y'all know how this is going. It's like every state is acting in autonomy, and then every city's acting in autonomy. There's no clear line on what we're supposed to be doing. I'm just afraid that this whole COVID thing is going to sort of put a fear in some of us about this whole voting experience that's coming in November.
And that's what we've got to really, really just, again, be aware of our options and be determined. And I'll just use this moment for anybody that's watching, and for the 4 of you, I can't count, to take a look at this website, defeatbytweet.org.
Yes.
This is a website that's put together by an organization, and what they're doing is every time Trump tweets, you can sign up to donate a set amount of money. It can be 1 cent on up each time he tweets to a Black-led grassroots organization that's out there doing the work to, they're at that intersection of politics and justice. Colors of Change, Joyce, is actually one of the organizations that's showcased on this website. So I want people to check that out, sign up to donate. We've got a couple months until Election Day. And what they're doing is they're out in all these battleground states. These are organizations that are in all the battleground states, and they're focusing on getting out the vote and a lot of other social justice issues. So take a moment to visit there so that, put your money where your mouth is. It's a painless way to, donate and contribute and be a part of progress.
That's awesome, Reese. And also be a poll worker, because our elderly can't be out because they're one of the most most of the ones that can be affected by COVID. So
Yeah.
a lot of them are not able to do it. So this is a great time to volunteer. I'm going to do it. So,
There are a lot of shortages around
a
the
lot of
country.
shortages. So go and volunteer. You can do that. That's a way to kind of activism and a way to make sure that you gotta vote because you still need to vote.
There's so many
Right.
ways to contribute to this new wave that we're trying to bring in. So many different ways. So
Yeah.
choose one and go with it.
Exactly.
All right, y'all. Clear, go vote. We're going to have Jonathan close us out, but thank y'all for participating in Black Topics. Remember, like, subscribe, share, and make your
Yeah.
comments below. We want to hear what y'all got to say. Go ahead, Jay.
Listen, I have my unicorn. Because listen, be your best self. Be your best self today. Be one of a kind. Don't try to be like anybody else and don't try to fit in any shell. Why? It's boring. But at the end of the day, love yourself with everything you have and show love to somebody else. We need it in 2020. Love somebody, please, and hug them. Do a shimmy, all right? Thank you for tuning in to Just a Little More. Come back next week. We're going to do some more Black Topics. Thank y'all. Love y'all. Thank you, Chantal and Marie.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, y'all come back and join us.
Oh, I would love to.
Huh? I'm joking.
Bye, y'all.